like a lot of it too is just like a power trip. You
Mm-hmm.
know, a lot of it, and people use kids as pawns, and it happens on both sides where people will use the kids to get back at the other parent. That's whether it's a male or a female. Like I've seen it both ways, and I can't really quantify like who does it more or whatever, but it happens, and it's unfortunate that the kids get stuck in the middle.
Yeah, I agree.
A-
Uh,
a-
oh,
What's
go ahead.
funny to me, and I'm gonna go back to what Ashley said, is and I'm thinking about the Tiana Taylor situation. All of a sudden, he's under the influence around the children. Now, my question to her is, when y'all were together and all on top of each other, were both of y'all under the influence in front of these children? Like, there's this, I think there's this battle of control. Like, if I got the upper hand, then I get to figure out how everything gonna be navigated. And for
Well, that
some,
could
oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that could have been a fight that they had been having though. You know what I mean? She
Right,
could have been fighting about that. Like, why you
right. It
keep
could have been
fooling
like one
around
of
with the
those.
kids? Like, yeah, you know. So
Exactly. Like
who
one of those
knows?
things where it's like an ongoing like argument or issue inside of the relationship. And then now divorce and separation and divorce happens. And now all of a sudden, every single battle, every single disagreement all comes to that table. And that's why I said all of these emotions, everything is jumbled up instead of being objective and really pinpointing, okay, this is why we're getting a divorce objectively.
Mhm.
Okay. This is what needs to happen objectively. And I know people are saying, in your mind, you're thinking this is easier said than done, Miss Jovo. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Objectivity is never easy when you're breaking up with the love of your life. But it's needed. So I just have questions. Like sometimes people will bring up issues and it's, she does this around the kids or he says this around the kids. And then my next question is, how did y'all address this before? Like and how are y'all going to continue to address it? Because the other myth about divorce when you have children is I ain't got to deal with that person anymore, and we all know that's a lie because y'all got a co-parent. So you know it's just so much.
Okay. What do you think, Darren? Why are divorces so nasty?
Wow. Well, I will never know. We never know the true reasons behind divorces when it comes to other couples and marriages and stuff like that. We just see what we see from the outside. But I do know one thing. I all the marriages and relationships that I've seen break up, I think they lasted a little bit longer than what they were supposed to last. And when you do things like that, you're gonna automatically be irritated with the other person. You're gonna nitpick. You're gonna find everything wrong with that person. Everything's gonna make you mad. You're gonna start fighting more because you really don't want to be there, right? And you're probably there for the kids, financial reasons. You can't move. You don't have the money to get your own place, or you would rather be comfortable in certain situations, so you just stay than to be uncomfortable in certain situations if you leave. So, and I just think people, overstay their welcome in marriages, and that causes a lot of problems because you tend to hurt the person more. So that's going to build up a more resentment when you do break up, and but I just feel like if you would have left the relationship or marriage when you really wanted to, or when things got bad, you probably could have savored some friendship, you know. But I just think people just stay, they maybe the societal pressures gets to a lot of. I know it gets to women. That's why they tend to stay in marriages because they don't want to be like the woman who couldn't keep her man and stuff like that, or being seen as, oh, she's been married 2 or 3 times, what's wrong with her, you know. Um, and men they just not gonna leave. Men to cheat before they leave, and that again will stir up a lot of bad blood with the woman. So, it's just a lot of things. I think people just stay in relationships, in marriages they're not supposed to be in. A lot of people get married for the wrong reason. When they find out that it's not going to work, they tend to overcommit to something that they know they're not supposed to be in, and that will make you feel like shit. so you're gonna take it out on the other person because you feel like shit for trying so hard, and that, you know, and no one likes to fail, right? And most people, when they tend to fail, they tend to try to place blame on somebody instead of themselves. So people break up and they just start the finger pointing and stuff like that instead of looking in the mirror and just seeing it for what it was. You know, we didn't work. We was two different people. We couldn't connect, and that's what it is. But people are very controlling. They feel like they want to control each other. So, you know, each person doesn't want to let the other person go. You know, and if they do go and they find somebody better, they're going to be mad because, you know, they live in a better life without them. So it's a lot of stuff that play into it. I really can't, you know, put my finger on one thing or what it may be, but I know a lot of things just by talking to people that's been divorced, you know, and hearing their story. You know, I get the idea that a lot of people just stay in relationships longer than they was supposed to be. So
bitterness, anger about things that have already happened, the kids, wanting the kids. You know, I think I agree with all of you all. It takes a certain level of honesty with self, one, and forgiveness, to, you know, go through a divorce. But then if those people had the ability to do that, maybe they wouldn't be getting divorced. So that's not always the case, you know. But yeah, they do get really nasty. I would like to hear from more people in the chat. I see you, We Unlock. Thanks for joining. Jody says women stay in marriage because of delusional hope. I've seen that. Yeah, I've definitely seen that. And Raquel says not only in marriages, but friendships, breakups, etc. I think she was kind of agreeing with what you were saying, Darwin. Jody also says because no one has the courage to be honest, and most times don't know themselves enough to do so. And that's kind of like what I was just saying. They don't have the honesty, or the ability to kind of move on. We're not moving because it's hard to just move on. You can't tell people just move on, but sometimes they're still so bitter about what's happened. All right. So anything else that y'all would like to say about that?
And their level of awareness. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. Of course, I can talk about this all day, but like, and I haven't been through a divorce, but you know, in terms of professional hazards, if you will, I hear about it a lot. A lot of people they you know, we can't end the discussion without talking about self-sabotage, because a lot of people think they look at marriage and they look at entering a new relationship as a curative measure to get rid of self-sabotaging behavior. And then they go into a relationship with someone and they thinking, okay, I'm gonna make this work. Not even understanding that they haven't even dealt with, they're not honest with themselves, that I self-sabotage. It don't have nothing to do with this other person. It's me. Okay. And so they don't deal with it. And then they find a way to screw this relationship up. And then they come out of it like, I'm at war with this person, or we got this going on, or this with the kids and this. And it's like what I say all the time. I've said it on the show before. We're the common denominator to our best and worst relationships in our life. And at some point, you got to look at yourself and how you showing up in situations. Because some of us, we've had so much happen to us prior to marriage. We bring that mess into a marriage. And then when it's time, you know, if that time comes to divorce, then we all of a sudden, people expecting us not to be messy. And it's like, no. Like some of us know we have married essentially some folks who dealing with some trauma. And if you knew you were married to this person and this trauma showed up at the dinner table, or it showed up on vacation, or it showed up in how they're parenting, then don't act brand new when the divorce comes up and you're like, why they so messy? Why is this going on? And it's like, you kind of knew this was going to happen, because this is how they deal with other drama and trauma in their life. So that's something else to consider too. So, you know, it's so many layers to this when you talk about divorce. And then people do the wrong thing to deal with this situation. Like, you know, I always tell people that when you're going through something like this, like a new life, like rule number one when you divorce, or you going into a new situation in your life, suddenly changing jobs or just, you know, decide to move. Oh, I'm taking the kids with me, and you moving 4 hours away from the other person. Not a good move. Now you bringing more stress onto yourself, you know, and then you lacking self-care, and you know, you're just so zoned in on, I want them to hurt like I hurt, and that's just a recipe for disaster. It most definitely is.
And another thing, I just think people just don't respect the evolution of other people, right? You know, it takes a lot for two people to not even just be married, but friends and everything to coexist for a long time, because everybody mindset is shifting all the time, right? And so you got to imagine, like, especially when people get married young